Alright guys, let's continue with these set reviews. We are now doing the Rebellion's Call Earth review. These are obviously all preliminary if you guys haven't just. We've only played maybe 4 or 5 games of the new set so far. I'm already deck building, which get excited for, you know, Tales from the Rebellion, this I guess this opus or whatever. But we're gonna be doing a lot of that, covering a lot of this game. So let's start off with Ursula. We saw her before, but when Ursula blocks or is blocked, you may put a backup you control into the break zone. When you do so, Ursula gains 4,000 power until the end of the turn. I think just an overall not a bad card. For 4k 8 Brave, like a 4-cost 8k Brave is a standard for Earth. She's category 4, which we know has support. She's a monk, which in a monk deck we'd play the other one. But I like her for multiple reasons. One, she can help herself out when she's blocks or is blocked, obviously only conditionally. But she also like frees up backup row, which is always very important to me is one of the most important things to me in this game when I deck build. Do my backups like, can they rotate? Do I get like locked out if I don't play, you know, if I play in a certain order throughout the game? And that's kind of it's one of the things that's important to me anyway, like I said, for deck building, and Ursula solves a problem like that, which I appreciate. There's only a few of this throughout the game, and Earth has a lot of it, and she's another one though, so that's okay. Limited, very strong also, so I think she'll see play in a 4 deck, specifically Cat 4 deck, and that way I don't have to play the other one and the whole monk package. And should be a very good choice in limited. Arcella, I think this art's very, very, very nice. Red Mage. When Arcella enters the field or attacks, choose a summon from either player's break zone. You may remove from the game. If you do so, play a refresh counter on Arcella. Remove 1 refresh counter from Arcella, choose a forward, negate all damage dealt to it. It gains 4,000 power until the end of the turn. So, good things and bad things. 1, she's a very good card, I think. 2, she is she's another card that removes stuff from your opponent's break zone, but there is no limit to how many refresh counters she can get, right? So at some point, if she survives too long, when she enters, she gets 1, right? So she can already protect herself. As the game goes on, she can start attacking and stealing more stuff and getting more counters to protect other people. Now, we have to be sure you understand, if it's not clear, I'm pretty sure negate damage in this game means to heal, right? So what that means is that if your opponent if that character has 8,000 power and has taken 5,000 power, it will remove the damage that it's taken and then give it 4,000 power until the end of the turn, right? So it goes from 3k left to 8k plus 4, so to 12k, right? So remember that negate all damage dealt to it doesn't mean like, you know, put this on the stack and it does not take damage this turn, or it's not being reduced. Negate all damage for the most part in this game has been translated to, you know, like what you would consider a heal, right? Like if it has taken damage, remove that damage. That's it. And I assume this one will be no different. So, but all in all, I think that's very important. So it allows for other cards to block multiple times. It allows important cards to live, you know, your opponent doing multiple attacks to it or multiple pings to it. What I mean, and it's just a very good card. Now, again, because it's on entry and when it attacks, this makes this card even more viable. A lot of problem with older cards, and some even like in the last 2 sets, is that they only get the triggers on entry and not, or just attacking, right? So she's good right off the bat. I don't think someone will Amaterasu her right away unless it's that important, but yeah, she's gonna be a problem to deal with, remember. So also, it just gives something 4k, even if it doesn't negate any damage, it just gains 4k until the end of the turn. That's very good. And the fact that you can choose a summon from either player's break zone is just perfect, right? Because even if my opponent holds everything, I'm like, all right, I have stuff I can use. It's never not going to be useful. So yeah, complicated but good. Cardian at 3 damage gains 3,000 power. And Cardian gains 5 damage, gains Brave, and cannot become dulled by your opponent's summons abilities. So just a generic standard unit from 11, Mobius. I think it's another 2-drop forward because the backups in this set like bring back 2-drop forwards, and so that's why we have stuff like this. Gabranth, 2-drop backup Judge. Choose a forward. It gains Brave until the end of the turn. You can only use ability during your main phase. And then for at 5 damage, put Gabranth in the break zone. Choose a dull forward, break it. So not a bad card. Yeah, it's just the giving stuff during Brave during your main phase is very traditional as well for Earth. And it's just, I guess it's good for 12. I think 12 is slowly building into something, and we've kind of already seen, if you haven't yet, should check out another video, or you should have by now. There was like a 12 custom starter deck revealed. Or was it 13? No, it's 13, never mind. Duke Snakehorn, back attack. When Duke Snakehorn blocks, break Duke Snakehorn and any forwards that are blocked by Duke Snakehorn. So if my opponent's, partying attacking with something, I can bring him in for 2 and then, eat them both. This guy is absurdly great. I love him. And yeah, he's great. He's a fun guy. I think he's gonna be used, even if he doesn't used in the dual horn deck. I think you can use him in like in a regular deck. It doesn't matter. He's a really good like out that your opponent has to start considering when they see Earth. So I like him a lot. Warrior, put Warrior into the break zone. Choose a forward. It gains 2,000 power until the turn. If you receive a point of damage this turn, it gains 10,000 power until the end of the turn. Yeah, this is like one of the other ones that we got. And just if you've taken a point of damage, is the mechanic or whatever for one of the backups this set. And so instead of getting 2,000, gains 10,000. So Titan, choose a forward of cost 5 or more, deal it 9,000 damage, or all forwards you control gain 5,000 power. So with where I think this meta is going, I think two things. Shinryu is going to be very important again, and Titan is also going to be very important. Why? Because a lot of board clears still have they're not absurd yet. They're not getting overpowered yet, and so keeping everyone out of that range is very nice. And so Titan is going to help you save you a lot and your whole board. So in a world where you have a bunch of 3-drops and they're all 7, 8k, and your opponent drops Shinryu, this also protects you from that. It keeps them alive and just enough that you might be able to, not get devastated by a Shinryu. Durando. So FFB Viking, when Durando deals damage to your opponent, choose a forward, choose up to 1 forward in your break zone and up to 1 backup in your break zone and add them to your hand. And then Rebellious Spirit, until the end of turn, Durando gains 4,000 power. Brave and Durando cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities. I'm sorry, by your opponent's abilities. Sorry. So yeah, realistically, if this guy does go unchecked, he is going to be a problem, as well as Robo Akbo. If he's able to hit you with damage, he's getting +4. And so also, if you have the Rebellious Spirit in your hand when you attack, then he's just going to bring himself back and do it again next turn, and do it again next turn. And it's a big problem. Now, the only time you would obviously do it is when he triggers the ability. You can respond before he becomes that. Also, just hit him with a summon. But it's still a big problem to deal with something. So turn 2 Durando some might say is a greedy play, but I think it's also the play to make to create a very annoying situation for your opponent, like we've talked about before with this guy. So Baron Guardsman, which someone pointed out to me, I guess I didn't notice this the first time. This guy's he's a standard unit, but he's also, you're going to play multiples of this guy. So when Baron Guardsman enters the field, you may play Earth. When you do so, name a card type. Remove all cards of the card type in your opponent's break zone from the game. That's great. And then at 3 damage, he gains 2,000 power. This guy's absurd. I'd love this guy. And he's cap 4. He's just such a good card, I think. Again, cap 4 is getting a lot of weird support. The new starter deck is finally going to make a little more sense. But yeah, guys like this is going to be very useful for it. Sleeping Bree. I'm not really interested in this, but when he enters the field, choose a forward until the turn, he gains 7 power and Brave. And then for 4, Sleeping Bree, choose a forward, deal it 2,000 time for each backup you control. It's not enough for me to get out of bed or even consider this. But who knows? I thought being Flan would matter, but it doesn't, unfortunately. So Not yet, anyway. This was a surprise to me when I saw it. So there's a new legendary Prish, the abhorrent one. When Prish enters the field or attacks, choose a forward your opponent controls. Prish and the chosen forward deal damage equal to their respective power to the other one. Okay. Discard a card. Prish gains 2,000 power until the end of turn. If you discard a card named Prish, Prish gains 4,000 power until the end of turn instead. And at 5 damage, Prish gains 2,000 power. So, kind of like a weird removal thing. It goes back to the old Prish hairpin deck that I had. You kind of want to play all the Prishes. I think it's weird that we have a lot of like one character tribal decks, right? Like the Ultros is an interesting one, which I found to be a bigger fan of more these days. The Prish one was also back in the day, but never really saw much. I guess at the time it was that it was out was okay, but again, never really competitively. We have the Emperors always coming through, and then there's the Bahamut stuff too, right? Like, it's weird. I don't know where they get these ideas. Honestly, I'm confused, but I guess in the big picture, sometimes I assume they'll be relevant. And as they continue to print more cards, sure, it makes more sense, but I don't know, relying all on one forward just feels weird to me. So it also eats up a lot of space in a deck, right, to kind of have all of these. So I don't know, I'm not a big fan of these, but we'll see how this one turns out. I think her cost might make her useful, and her double job might make her useful, being a monk. So we'll see how it goes. Matt, monk. A lot of more monk stuff. Earth, Matt gains 1,000 power until the end of turn. For 2 Earth and a colorless, Matt gains cannot be broken by opposing summons or abilities that don't deal damage until the end of turn. Yeah, I prefer the other Matt, but this seems good in limited as well, so there's that. Mutoya, I think this is a really cool one as well. Backup. When Mutoya enters the field, select one of the following 3 actions. Choose a character in your break zone, add it to your hand, remove all the cards in your opponent's break zone from the game, and you may pay 2 Earth and 2 colors. When you do so, break all forwards. So it's a little more expensive, but it's got a lot of options, and I think it's cool. There's a weird world here where, because it's a witch, I think you can play it with the old Cypher, but I don't know if that's enough for me. I think it's cool, and the full art is definitely very, very nice. We can move on though. Monk. This is the other backup effect where you can choose a standard unit forward in the break zone. If it is Earth, cost 3 or less, play it on the field instead. I don't know which one's the best way to go here, but it's a monk, so it might see its way into the monk deck. So a lot of monk support, which I found was very interesting this time around. The Night Dancer. Your opponent may only Your opponent may only declare as many attacks in the same turn as the number of backups they control. The Night Dancer is put from the field into the break zone. Choose one forward your opponent controls. It gains this forward cannot attack until the end of turn. Yeah, it's very interesting. So not only does it like limit my opponent's attacks, like if they went aggro, this guy kind of shuts everybody down. Like, but even if they're able to kill him, you can still stop another thing from attacking. So, excuse me. These dual horns are very, very interesting. I hope we get more down the road, which would make this deck even more viable. But I like their uniqueness and all of their, tech tricks or whatever. Shadow Lord. This is the other legendary. When Shadow Lord enters the field, name a job. Break all the forwards with the name job and job standard unit. When 3 or more forwards are put in the field's and break zone, by this effect, Shadow Lord deals you a point damage. 3 or more forwards are put into the field. Oh, that's interesting. I thought it was the other way around. I didn't realize he dealt you the point damage. I thought he dealt your opponent's point damage. But Shadow Lord gains 1,000 power and brave, and Shadow Lord becomes dark. So that second part's very interesting to me. But I don't know how relevant it would be down the road, but we'll see. I think in all his effect is very interesting. Just because he comes in and breaks jobs. We haven't had anything like this before. And he takes standard units out with him too. So he kind of just adds that to the list. A very strong effect, considering the way what I'm guessing the meta would go into. I don't know how consistent we would run this right now, but this is going to be, I don't want to say future-proof, but he kind of, you know, lends himself to the future, right? So when the next tribal comes out and they're all knights, or they're all, you know, monks, or they're all summoners, or they're all, you know, dragoons, he will come back, and I think he'll do a lot of stuff. Ewan is put from the field into the break zone. You may put Ewan to the top of its owner's deck. At 3 damage, EX burst. When Ewan is put from the when Ewan is put in the damage zone, choose a forward, break it. This ability may only be used as an EX burst. So yeah, it's just a very good, like, kind of stop my opponent in his tracks kind of thing. Like, you know, it's gonna come out at the 3 damage or whatever. So playing a few of these wouldn't hurt anybody. I think it's really going back to what I was saying about, like, in the water review. It's just like deciding what their damage is going to be by putting cards on top of his deck. This kind of like messes with that too, right? In the opposite effect. Like, now my opponent's going to want to attack less because I'm either going to kill something or I'm going to draw this and do it again, and kind of hold them back from attacking. Ooh, still tired, huh? You cannot play Lych or card name Ida while already in control of either character. If forward forming a party you control is dealt damage, that damage becomes 0. When a party you control deals damage to your opponent, draw a card. Lych deals your opponent 1 point of damage. This effect will only trigger once per turn. I think it's not a bad card. I think we were surprised to see she was a fighter and not a monk. But very good in limited, I think. So it's a strong card. I don't know how well we'll make it to. There's a lot of these random Earth cards that they have decent effects, but don't really make their way into constructed because of meta permitting. Really, I think I can't remember the last one, but he was like an FFCC guy that just everyone had to block and stuff. I thought he was very cool, but he didn't really get to see play. Lych. When Lych deals damage to a forward or is dealt damage by a forward, break that forward. Which is an absurd effect. When you receive a 5th point of damage, you may do the Lych into the played earth, bring Lych into the field, duel. This effect will only trigger if Lych is in your break zone. So he's taking something with him for the most part, no matter what. He will, that's his plan, that's his goal, and he's gonna sit there until he does it. If he had Brave, he would be even more ridiculous, because that just means he's gonna sit there forever. And then the fact that he comes back later is really good. He's probably my favorite one of these Chaos cards in this set. I don't know if we're getting close enough to the Chaos deck, but I'll definitely take a look at it. Rydia. When Rydia enters the field, choose a forward, put in your break zone from the field during this turn, play it onto the field. It's a 5-cost, re-raise. I like it. It's another Rydia is obviously the only problem for a name clash, but in a regular Earth deck, or just in general Earth decks that have like big board wipes and stuff like that, or removal of like things you're fighting and stuff, this might make its way into that deck. I just think it's a solid card too for a common. Very good in limited as well. Lorenzo. When Lorenzo attacks, Lorenzo will not activate during your next active phase. When Lorenzo attacks until the end of the turn, Lorenzo doubles its power and gains. When Lorenzo deals damage to your opponent, choose a character in your break zone, add it to your hand. So a little more recursion. I think it's cool that he's a Dragoon, but I wish the Lancer girl was also a Dragoon. Just really good card, man. Some of these cards are just like, where were you before? Just being able to double his power is great. I think it's always referring to his base power. I don't think it's total power, but don't hold me to that just yet. So he'll always be 14 pretty much when he attacks. Obviously, you can respond to him before he triggers, or before battle in general, just to not risk it. And then giving him Brave is also the catch, right? Like, if not, it's every 4 turns or something, right? Like, yeah, it's you attack, then your opponent's turn, he doesn't come back, then your opponent, then your turn. Yeah, so it's like, it'll be a while before he does it again. So giving him Brave is very important. And lastly is the reprint of the Scion, Ursula, the legacy card. If Ursula is the damage less than her power, the damage becomes 0, and Ursula cannot be blocked by a forward of cost 4 or more. Very nice. If you haven't seen these already, they look very, very good. Not my favorite one, but still a goodie. Anyway, guys, that's it for the Earth stuff. For me, the biggest things were the Snakehorn. I'm sorry, the Dual Horns, Durando, Baron, Guardsman, and I think Lych and Titan. The elves were kind of a miss for me in general, despite their viability. I think, and by viability I mean Shadow Lord. I think the other ones are just the heroes in this one are just much better for me, and so are the rares. So, which is your favorite Earth card and why? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, go check out the other set review if you haven't yet already. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.